Hello and welcome to this My Access Administration Training presentation. This is brought to you by the Office of Assessment and Accountability, or the OEAA, and the Test Administration and Reporting Division. This presentation covers the Functional Independence Assessment under the My Access Alternate Assessment Program. We will start this presentation with some items that are new this year. What's new? Audio recordings accommodations will be flash drive formats. This replaces the audio CDs used in the past. Users have a couple options to administer the audio recordings. They may select the file with all of the questions, or select one file with individual questions. The flash drive features a USB-A and a USB-C access port. An instruction sheet will also be included in the kit. The OEAA Secure site now has several alerts for its users. There are warnings for multiple pre-identification of students across different programs. There are also warnings about flagging students for special education when identifying them for an alternate assessment. These are designed to help prevent students from being over-tested in error or inappropriately tested. The OEAA has enhanced the electronic device policy document for test security this year. This policy document is available on the My Access webpage and in the test administration manuals. This updated guide provides extensive information for district and building coordinators who develop internal security policies and protocols. More details are included in the resource section of this presentation under the topic of security. This next section covers the My Access assessment information and provides an overview of the My Access Alternate Assessment Program. My Access is designed for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities who have a disability or multiple disabilities that significantly impact cognitive functioning and adaptive behavior, and are supported with the majority of instruction based on Michigan's alternate content expectations. My Access is not intended for students with mild impairments or solely with high incidence of types of disabilities, for example, a learning disability with speech impairment. My Access is also not intended for students solely with a behavioral or sensory perceptual type of impairment, for example, emotional impairment or hearing impairment. My Access is not a default assessment for students with moderate to high or specialized support needs, for example, not only and not all students with autism. My Access is not a default assessment to allow for better student outcomes. My Access is designed only for students with IEP goals that are aligned to the alternate achievement expectations in lieu of the general grade level standards. Students that meet the inclusion criteria and receive alternate instruction as part of a daily routine. My Access has 3 levels of participation to match this instruction: high, medium, and low. The first level of the assessment we will look at is Functional Independence, or FI. The FI assessments are for students whose IEP goals and objectives align most closely with the high range of complexity of the alternate content expectations. Students at this level typically assess their own personal strengths and limitations and can assess resources, strategies, and supports to help them maximize their independence. These are students who, based on his or her disability, are not able to work towards general content standards. This is for students whose IEP goals and objectives align most closely with the medium range of complexity of the alternate content expectations. Students at this level require ongoing support in major life roles and may have cognitive and/or physical impairments that limits their ability to generalize or transfer learning. The instructional approach taken for these students is direct and in context and targeted towards specific essential independent living and academic skills. The third level of assessment is participation, or P assessments, and these are for students whose IEP goals and objectives align most closely with the low range of complexity when working towards the alternate content expectations. Students at this level may require extensive and ongoing support in adulthood and may have significant cognitive and/or physical impairments that limit their ability to generalize or transfer learning. They are typically dependent on others for most, if not all, their daily living needs. The instructional approach for these students targets opportunities for them to integrate all age-appropriate tasks and activities related to daily living skills and academic content. The guidelines for participation in MyAccess can be found on the MyAccess webpage. By following this link and QR code, it will take you to the MyAccess webpage where, in the opening header, you will find a link to the guidelines. This document can help identify if the MyAccess test is appropriate for the student. However, this is not the only document to consider. The MyAccess webpage also provides a couple of training opportunities under the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. The first one is the Assessment Selection Guidelines training, which is a more robust resource to train staff in recognizing what level of the assessment is most appropriate for the student. The second tool is the Assessment Selection Guidance document, which is an interactive decision-making tool that will walk you through the sequence of yes and no questions and answers to arrive at the most appropriate assessment for the student. Both are excellent resources for IEP teams to make the most appropriate decision for the student. Students will take the MyAccess FI assessments in the following grades and content areas. ELA and Math are administered in grades 3 through 8 and grade 11. Note, the ELA assessments includes accessing print and using language, as well as expressing ideas. Science and Social Studies are administered in grades 5, 8, and 11. The CR stands for Constructed Response and the SR for Selected Responses. For Functional Independence ELA, accessing print in grades 3 through 8 and 11, we have 41 items and 2 constructed response prompts for the expressing ideas. Mathematics at all grade levels, or 3 through 8 and 11, contains 34 selected response items. Science tests have 36 selected response items for grades 5 and 51 items for both grades 8 and 11. Social Studies has 40, 42, and 52 selected response items in grades 5, 8, and 11, respectively. Some have asked over the years if students can be assessed in more than one type of the MyAccess assessment, and the answer is yes. Students may be assessed using multiple levels of the test. For example, MyAccess FI flexibility will allow for the FI and SI assessments to be combined. For example, FI Math and SI ELA. The test types must be adjacent. For example, FI and SI. Non-adjacent types are not permitted. For example, FI and P. M-STEP may also be split with MyAccess FI only. PSAT in grade 8 may be combined with FI only. Please note that ELA and Mathematics must be administered as a unit. SAT may be combined with grade 11 FI only. Note, ELA and Mathematics must be administered as a unit. All decisions of assessment use must be documented in the IEP. Can students take any type of MyAccess assessment? No, there are some limits. MyAccess flexibility is limited to adjacent levels of testing. This chart shows the limits between valid and invalid testing scenarios. The left green column outlines the valid testing scenarios based on adjacent levels of testing. The right orange column outlines the invalid testing scenarios based on non-adjacent levels of testing. Please note that ELA and mathematics must be administered as a unit and cannot be split between. The functional independence is administered in two modes, paper pencil and online. The test directions for the paper pencil are in the manuals. The test directions for the online testing are embedded in the online test. And the paper pencil students mark responses in the booklet except for expressing ideas. For online testing, students interact directly with the online test and select the answer. For paper pencil, the test administrator may read the test to a student per the read aloud instructions inside the front cover. For online, the text-to-speech feature will begin upon login and headphones are required. The paper pencil booklet may be used for scratch paper. For online testing, scratch paper is optional but must be collected and destroyed after testing if used. For paper pencil, calculators may be used if they are a part of the student's routine class instruction. Online calculators are available for some math questions. For the paper pencil testing, administrators transfer the responses from the booklet to the student answer document. For online testing, administrators review the summary screen before submitting the online test for the student. There is one very important functional independence reminder for ELA. The Expressing Ideas assessment is a paper version for all students taking ELA, regardless of the mode of testing. Students must respond to both prompts. Students may answer with writing, drawing, or any combination of both. Universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations are available. Expressing Ideas must be returned to the scoring contractor to receive a valid ELA scale score. The district coordinator provides overall assessment support and responsibility for ensuring all students are pre-ID'd and moved from M-Step to My Access in the secure site as early as possible. Ensuring any students removed from the M-Step are also removed from those test sessions in the Insight portal, and any printed M-Step tickets are destroyed. They must order test materials as needed, ensure the OEAA security compliance forms are completed by all staff, ensure that procedures for material handling and security are developed and followed, including a chain of custody for all materials. Complete the MDE assessment security modules through Michigan Virtual at the link shown, and ensure that all staff have access to and have received test administration training. The district coordinator also assists schools in receiving and returning all test materials as required. They manage the answer document and test verification process. This is the last chance to make sure all answer documents have been processed and document why students may not have been tested. They also ensure any testing irregularities are reported by submitting an incident report in the secure site. They review and distribute final reports, which will be released in late summer through the secure site. Assessment coordinator training is located on the web page or QR code below. The role of the building or the school coordinator for My Access includes the following: manage all aspects of the assessment in collaboration with the district coordinator, coordinate staff training for administration and test security at their school, ensure the students have access to the practice test with the online tools training system found on the My Access webpage, assist with receiving and returning of test materials as required, ensure proper implementation of material security procedures at the school level, and properly disseminate and collect test materials from assessment administrators. The building coordinator must complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual at the link shown here and also on the web page. Read the Assessment Integrity Guide also found on the web page. The Assessment Coordinator training is located on the web page, and we'll be referencing that in the resources section of this presentation. The role of the assessment administrator for functional independence includes the following. The FI tests are designed to be administered one-on-one or in small groups of 5 or fewer. Here are a few things to remember. The assessment administrator must be a certified professional staff member, such as a teacher, school psychologist, related service provider, or teacher consultant, and will assist the student getting started with the booklet or login for the online testers. Test materials must always be securely locked when not being used for test preparation or administration. Monitor student progress and assist to help minimize any distractions for the student or fellow students. Transfer student responses from the test booklet to the answer document for paper pencil after administering the test. Administrators should also assist the student with the student-facing technology as needed. Submit online tests when the student is finished. Return all testing materials to the coordinator after testing. And administrators must work with a coordinator to complete test administration and test security training. The next section is designed to provide enough resources to answer most of your questions and provide opportunities for training of other staff members. The Michigan Department of Education has developed a guide to all of our state assessments, and it can be located on the My Access webpage. The Test Administration Manual, or the TAM, provides general information about the assessment, an overview of what to expect, supports and accommodations, roles and responsibilities, activities before, during, and after testing, materials return section, and as a reminder, May 31st, 2023 is the deadline this year, and finally an appendix section with a variety of helpful materials. The My Access webpage provides a number of links to the following: the alternate content expectations, which are found in the webpage header, guidelines for participation, which is also found in the webpage header, the OEAA Secure Site login page, also the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide, our Spotlight weekly publications, and the My School Data link, and the contact information for OEAA. The My Access webpage also provides links in the current Assessment Administration section, which includes test administration manuals, administration flowcharts, the Guide to State Assessments, the DRC Insight Portal link, the Assessment Integrity Guide, and the Electronic Device Policy. The My Access webpage also provides a link to the Assessment Calendars webpage, where you'll find the lists of important dates in PDF format, a list of assessment program dates in Excel format. A Google Calendar option is also available for those who want to be informed through their calendar what activities are approaching with regards to state assessments. This includes Google Help information and resources for task follow-up. The Spring 2023 Summative Assessment Calendar is available on the Calendar webpage. The My Access testing window is a 7-week continuous window from April 10th through May 26th. The My Access webpage also includes a training section and resources for educators. This includes administration video training, the Functional Independence Online Tools training information for students practicing testing, and the OEAA Secure Site training documentation, and the assessment security training as well. The My Access webpage also provides a link to the Assessment Security Training webpage in the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. The Assessment Integrity and Security webpage provides Assessment Security Practices resources, Test Security and Administration Monitoring, Assessment Security and Planning documents, Assessment Security Training for Coordinators, Administrators, and Staff, and allegation reporting resources for misadministration, irregularities, and unethical behavior. Another resource for assessment coordinators is the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide found at this link and on the MyAccess webpage. This guide is a chapter-driven document that provides a brief but important outline of all aspects of training and assessment. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide provides an overview, which includes Assessment Coordinator Training, Quick Reference, and Quick Start Guide. The assessment systems include Introduction to Testing Technology, DRC Insight Portal Basics, Secure Site Training, Educational Entity Master or EEM resource, Michigan Student Data System or MSDS. Under the Student Supports and Accommodations section, you will find Student Supports and Accommodations Overview, Selecting and Assigning Universal Tools, Designated Supports, and Accommodations. There is also a Test Security chapter that includes Overview of Test Security, Appropriate Practices for Test Security, and Incident Reporting. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is set up to also help you with activities before testing. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is set up to also help you with activities before testing. When you are getting ready for testing, we have a variety of documents in the guide that will help you with training and resources. These include pre-identification of students, report codes and research codes, preparing yourself and staff as a building coordinator and as a district coordinator, preparing students and parents for testing, initial and additional material orders, MyAccess, who takes an alternate assessment, and MyAccess assessment preparation. The Coordinator Guide provides information for what to do during testing for MyAccess assessment administrations. There is also a section on the after-testing activities, which include post-administration tasks and reports such as materials return, accountable students enrolled, and demographics, and introduction to testing technology. A chapter is also provided focused on assessment data and reporting, including preliminary reports, data files, and final reporting. The primary goal of assessment security is to protect the integrity of the assessment and to ensure that the results are accurate and meaningful. The OEAA has developed an assessment security goal for the state of Michigan to provide secure assessments that result in valid and reliable scores, to adhere to a high professional test administration and security standards, to maintain consistency across all testing occasions and sites, that is, schools and students, to promote the investments of resources, time, and energy. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides a number of items, including information on the prevention and detection of testing irregularities, guidance for follow-up and resolution of any identified testing irregularity, ensure all procedures before, during, and after the testing administration leads to student results that more accurately reflect a valid and reliable measure of students' unique and true educational knowledge, skills, and abilities. Updated information for spring 2023 should be reviewed for the updated testing policies. It is also located on the MyAccess webpage at www.michigan.gov/myaccess. The security compliance forms are to be read and signed by all staff involved in state assessments. Staff agreements for confirming training and proper observance of security processes are to be kept on hand at the district for a minimum of 3 years. The security compliance forms are available on all state assessment web pages, including MyAccess. The OEAA has developed an electronic device policy for testing, which is available in the Assessment Integrity Guide and the Test Administration Manual. This guide is designed to help district and building coordinators develop an internal policy regarding personal electronic devices during testing. The guide includes examples of electronic devices, policy for students, and policy for test administrators, monitors, and staff. It also includes best practices or acceptable and prohibited practices for students and staff. All staff members who participate in the administration of a state assessment must be fully trained in assessment security each year. District and building assessment coordinators must complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. After completion of the training course, a refresher course is available for subsequent years' training. They must also read the Assessment Integrity Guide. Test administrators, room supervisors, and proctors must read the Assessment Security for Test Administration document, TAM Appendix C, page 82, and or complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. The new Active Monitoring Best Practices document provides detailed descriptions of administration practices that are required. Then, best practices are described, practices that are acceptable, and finally, prohibited practices are listed. The document is in the Test Administration Manual Appendix D, on page 92. Off-site testing is for schools who cannot test on-site at their school buildings. Off-site testing also occurs for individual students when a school is providing educational services to a homebound student, students are hospitalized during the testing window, or students are expelled with services. The test administrators must be familiar to the student to avoid any distractions and recognize the special needs of the student. The Off-Site Test Administration request is found under the Assessment Registration tab in the OEAA Secure site. Select Off-Site Test Administration Request. The window to submit Off-Site Test Administration request is open now through May 25th, 2023. The test monitoring application is available through the DRC Insight portal, which allows users to actively monitor student-facing FI administration. It also allows coordinators to track student progress on the online testing. Video is available at this link to provide training on how to use the application. Based on the feedback from last year, the Appendix D on page 94 of the TAM provides detailed information regarding the application. Training is also available in the DRC Library of Training Documents. Incidents or testing irregularities frequently occur during testing and must be submitted on the Incident Report page of the OEAA Secure site. There are several common types of incidents: testing not completed, duplicate testing of students, tests submitted in error, prohibited behavior or cheating, accommodation or designated support that was not given, technical problems. An incident report instruction sheet provides details for completing the report. The staff from the OEAA will respond to remedy the situation once the report is filed. The OEAA Secure site is a web-based application used for managing state assessments and contains FERPA student information. The site is only available to authorized ISD, district, and school staff members that require it as part of their role in state assessments. The primary function of the secure site are pre-identification of students for all assessments, ordering paper and pencil tests, including accommodated versions, incident reporting, accountable students enrolled and demographics review, answer documents received and not tested review and submission, and access to student data files and score reports. How do I get access to the secure site? If you don't already have access, this slide tells you how to fix that. You log into the OEAA Secure site using your MEIS login and password, and that will bring up the Request Access page, which gives you directions for how to request access. If you need detailed instructions or additional help, then the Secure Site training page can help you. Go to www.michigan.gov/securesitetraining and click right at the top of the page, How do I get access to the Secure Site? The OEAA Secure Site is a site that you will use quite frequently throughout testing. It's an OEAA web application that is used for many testing tasks, and a lot of those tasks are done before testing, but there are also a few during and after testing. Before testing, you go to the Secure Site to pre-identify students for state assessments. If you have students testing with paper pencil, you can print barcode labels from the Secure Site. Material ordering happens in the Secure Site. And finally, before February 20th, you can group students into online sessions in the Secure Site to be pulled into the DRC Insight portal. During testing, off-site test administration requests are completed in the Secure Site. And finally, incident reporting is also completed in the Secure Site. After testing, you'll do tasks for the accountable students and test verification process in the Secure Site, and this is where you can access student test scores, download data files, and access the reports that are available in the Dynamic Score Reporting site. Initial material orders are processed through the OEAA Secure Site and are based on your pre-ID counts. IMOs are sent to coordinators by default to the district unless designated to individual buildings in the district. Users may select an alternate delivery date, either March 27th through the 29th or April 3rd through the 5th. Additional material orders are also processed through the Secure Site, but are based on materials selected by the user after the initial window has closed. The dates for the ordering windows are listed on the My Access Important Dates document found on the My Access webpage. While these dates may have passed for this year, they typically fall within the range of similar dates year to year. Please review the list of important dates on the webpage to confirm. This is the Initial Material Order screen, or IMOs. You search by test cycle, and then you can select your shipping destination and your delivery dates. The first date listed is the default date, but you can change that in case there's something happening in your district or building during that week. The address listed is based on the address for the My Access coordinator in the EEM. Make sure you verify that this is correct so that your materials are sent to the correct place. IMOs are automatically generated based on your pre-ID count. This window is closed for spring 2023, but you can still view your order from this screen. Please check the list of important dates for the IMO active dates. You can still place material orders if you have any need for additional materials. The window for additional materials orders is listed here, April 6th through May 23rd. These dates are also listed in the Important Dates documents. When your materials arrive, be sure to inventory all of your secure materials when you receive them. Use the packing slip that's included in your delivery to verify that everything is listed on the packing slip is included in your order. All secure materials are required to be returned to the scoring contractor, such as accommodated versions of the test booklets, etc. If not returned, you will be required to locate the missing materials. We need to remedy all material discrepancies at the time of delivery. If you do your inventory and there are errors, send us an email at mde-oeaa@michigan.gov so that we can locate the missing secure materials. This is important because failure to return all secure materials may result in the district or school being placed on a future monitoring list. On random visits to schools, management of secure materials comes up as an issue in some schools. So this is a reminder. All secure materials must be retained in a secure, locked location within the school. This cannot be just in a locked office, like on the principal or assessment coordinator's desk, because it's possible that the office can be left unattended and the materials are not secure. Distributing and collecting materials daily apply throughout the testing process, including during the planning stage. Secure materials for online testing are test rosters and test tickets, and any used scratch or graph paper. For paper pencil testing, secure materials include test booklets, used answer documents, any accommodated versions of the test, audio flash drives, and listening scripts. Make sure you review the TAM if you have any questions about what are secure materials. The DRC Insight portal will become available for online test administration tasks beginning on March 3rd. Students who were pre-ID'd and put into online test sessions in the OEAA Secure site by February 20th will be copied into the DRC Insight portal and put into test sessions. But you can still pre-ID students in the OEAA Secure site, and these students will be copied into the DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. These students who are pre-ID'd after February 20th will need to be added to test sessions in the DRC Insight portal. User access to the DRC Insight portal is required for both technology coordinators and building and district assessment coordinators. The roles to be assigned in the OEAA Secure site are listed here. They haven't changed from prior administrations. If test administrators are going to use the test monitoring application, they will need to have secure access. Again, if they are not using the test monitoring application, then they don't need secure access. They can access student tutorials, mini modules, and the TAMs without access. If they are using the test monitoring application, then they do need access, and they should be assigned either public or non-public online test administrator roles in the OEAA Secure site. Then they will get the email from the DRC Insight portal with information about how to access their account. This table shows who needs access and the associated secure site role in order for them to have the correct access. Technology coordinators must have access, and the secure site roles they should be assigned are listed here. Either district or school level access, and for school level access, it is either public or non-public schools. District and building coordinators also must have access to work in the DRC Insight portal. They are sorted the same way as technology coordinators, either district or school level access, and the school access is separated into public and non-public schools. Test administrators only need access if they will be using the test monitoring application for FI. If you are not using the test monitoring application, there is no need for test administrators to have secure access. SINP score entry is internet-based URL access to the online answer document and not the DRC portal. It is important that students are aware of how the items on the test work and the tools that are available to them before testing day. This ensures that students can focus on the content and not the testing engine on testing day. There are student tutorials and online tools training, or OTTs, that should be used. You can launch Insight, and the tutorials are the yellow link at the bottom of the page, and you can see the OTTs listed under each assessment logo. You can also access them from the My Access webpage as long as you use a Chrome browser. Go to the Parent Student Information section and select the link My Access FI Online Tools Training. The page that opens has a link to the OTTs on the top portion of the page. District and building assessment coordinators are required to provide training to test administrators before testing. Test administration training includes training in all test administration policies and procedures, including the electronic device policy, scratch paper policy, and requirements for the use of designated supports and accommodations. All test administrators must also sign the OEAA Security Compliance Form and the test directions found in the manual. Assessment security training is also required. One of either completing the Assessment Security modules on Michigan Virtual or reading the Assessment Security for Test Administrator document is required, not both. The Assessment Security for Test Administrators document is available in the Appendix C of the Test Administration Manual and the Assessment Integrity Guide. Very briefly, I want to touch on the accommodations and supports for students. Decisions regarding the universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations needed for instruction and assessment for students with disabilities are made by the IEP team. Universal tools are available to all students and to be used as primarily student-driven as needed. Designated supports are available to individual students who have specific needs, and this is used primarily as educator-driven. Accommodations are available to students with disabilities whose needs are more specific and must be approved and documented in the IEP. Before testing, meet with appropriate staff who will be involved in the student testing. Review all of the supports for the students that they are clearly defined and understood. Then you should assign all of the universal tools, designated supports, or accommodations in the DRC Insight portal. Once this is done, make sure that your test administrators are made aware of all supports and accommodations that students need in their test sessions. This is important because supports or accommodations may be delivered through the online testing engine or during paper-pencil testing. Some schools use Google Sheets or other collaborative software to make sure that everyone's aware of what is needed. Again, you can use this process or another process, but the important thing is that all test administrators know every support and accommodation that each student should or should not have in each test session. This is an important role of the assessment coordinator. Then, once everyone knows everything they need to know, you'll need to make sure that they have access to all of the materials to provide these supports and accommodations. All supports and accommodations must be selected in the DRC Insight portal before printing test tickets and testing rosters for online administration. The following online supports will be available for all students testing Functional Independence, or FI. DS stands for text-to-speech with follow-along. TTS is default to on at login. DS Color Chooser. DS Contrasting Color. Calculator for applicable items. The following online supports will be available by student and must be turned on in the DRC Insight portal before printing the student test ticket for My Access FI. UT Continuous Magnification, DS Masking, or DS Scribe. DRC provides a video training for assigning student supports and accommodations in the DRC Mini Module Library of Trainings. Getting ready for the My Access FI administration can involve a great deal of training and planning ahead of time. In this section, we will cover the activities leading up to testing. There are several things to remember when preparing for the assessment administration. They are: determine who has access to the DRC Insight portal and how online student test tickets will be printed and distributed. Show FI online students the assessment tutorials and give students opportunity to practice using the online tools training. The testing environment for the student should consider the following. 2 test tickets are required since there are 2 parts to each online assessment. It does not matter which part is given first. Breaks are encouraged based on student needs. For FI, ELA Expressing Ideas is an additional part, paper pencil for all. Ensure students are getting all required supports and accommodations. Scribes for paper, pencil, or online navigation must understand the scribe protocol found in the Supports and Accommodations guidance document on page 47, which is located on the My Access webpage. Students are automatically registered or pre-identified in the M-Step and must be moved to My Access in the OEAA Secure site by content area, online or paper pencil, and type FI, SI, or P, according to the IEP. Ensure students are removed from any active M-Step sessions and those session test tickets are destroyed. If not, this could lead to confusion and students being tested in both My Access and M-Step unnecessarily. Students pre-ID'd for the paper version of the FI test before February 15th will have student labels shipped with the initial material orders. Pre-ID student labels may be printed from the OEAA Secure site as needed. Schools may continue to pre-identify students on the OEAA Secure site, which will be uploaded to the DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. All students taking My Access must be flagged as Special Ed or SE in MSDS. Inventory all materials upon arrival for accuracy before distributing. Review or place test material orders in the Secure site for paper pencil testing. Be sure to follow all security procedures for testing materials when not being used for either assessment preparation and/or administering the test. Ensure that student barcode labels are correct and affixed to the FI answer document. Students pre-identified after February 20th must be added to a session directly in the DRC Insight portal starting on March 3rd. Enter all accommodations for students in the DRC portal prior to printing test tickets. Students will have test tickets generated and appear on tested rosters with documented accommodations and supports. The DRC Insight portal will open March 3rd to create and manage all online test sessions. The Test Administration Manual, or the TAM, provides details on how to prepare for the assessments. The Functional Independence, or FI TAM, covers the online testing features and how to administer them. The TAM also provides instructions for students using paper pencil and test directions for all content areas. The FI TAM provides administration details for beginning to end tasks required to complete the testing. The FI TAM is available on the web page. DRC provides a student tutorial that can be found in the portal. You may access this tutorial without a login on their welcome page, or you may open the DRC Insight testing engine and select the tutorial link at the bottom of the screen. The My Access FI tutorial will help the building coordinators and assessment administrators, as well as students, through the use of the software and tools to navigate the testing environment. The tutorials also show students how to navigate, sign in, pause, exit, and submit a test. These tutorials are essential to successful participation on the FI online assessment. DRC also provides online tools training, or the OTTs. The OTT is a practice test for the students to become familiar with online testing. This allows students to try out the features of the testing environment. The OTTs are practice tests and they are not scored. The goal is to provide practice in using the tools, and these are not grade specific or content area specific. To access the OTTs, use a Chrome browser and navigate to the link below. You may also open the DRC Insight testing engine and select the online tools training link. There is also a mini module that you can view to help you with the OTTs and how to access them. The math test has an embedded calculator for some of the items. The test engine uses the online Desmos calculator. This calculator can also be found in the OTTs for practice purposes. The My Access student tutorial does not have a calculator section, but the M-Step tutorial does. Further information about the Desmos calculators can be found at www.desmos.com. DRC Insight is the name of the online testing engine. It is a secure web browser for Windows and Mac devices. This platform prevents students from accessing any other programs once it is launched. Apps are used on iPads. Kiosk mode will be used for Chromebooks, and DRC Insight provides access to the test sign-in. Now we move into the area of test administration and the activities surrounding the day of testing. FI assessments have both paper and pencil, as well as online features as noted in this flowchart. Assessments may be completed in paper-pencil or online per the IEP instructions. The student marks the paper-pencil test booklet with their responses, and the administrator transfers those responses to the answer document for the student. Online students will interact directly with the test in the online test engine. Since the ELA expressing ideas must be completed with paper for all ELA students, it is important to remember to not only administer, but to return the expressing ideas test for scoring as noted by the red arrow in the flowchart. The expressing ideas test is required to receive an overall valid ELA score. A situation we do recommend is that the assessment administrator log in for the student. The blue screen below shows the required fields for username and passwords. Administrators must be prepared to assist the students, including with any technology interferences. Important details to know about the online assessment. Assessment administrators should log into the assessments for the students as mentioned. On screen 2, select the test that the students will be taking. The audio will automatically begin to read from this point. Headphones are required unless in a one-to-one administration. Review the test ticket to confirm if any listed accommodations are actively available. Once they click the Next button, they're going to enter the first part of the assessment, which is a review of the tools required to take the assessment, such as the pointer tool, the highlighter, the magnifier, and the calculator for the math assessments and so forth. Please note, this is just a review. This is not an in-depth instruction on how to use each of the tools. For the in-depth instruction on how to use each tool, please rely on the online tools training program. After the tools review, the student will read or hear instructions and click Begin the Test button. This will take the student to the first question in the test. The text-to-speech with follow-along is on by default for all online tests. If this presents a distraction for a student, this can be disabled by using the Options button. Be sure the volume is on for the 2 listening items at the start of Part 2 of the ELA assessment. Headphones are required for this test and for small group administration of 5 students or fewer. If the student is taking a break, do not let them submit the test. Select Pause to stop for up to 20 minutes, and a countdown timer will begin. Select Resume to continue. To leave the session, select Pause Exit, and you may log in back later with the same test ticket. When the student is done, help them with the review screen. This allows the student to see what items have been answered or not. Select any item with an unchecked box and ask, "Are you finished with this question?" Do not give a prompt to complete. Just raise awareness with the student. When you are finished, you may select the End Test button and it will give you the option to return to the test or submit it. For the paper-pencil Functional Independence Administration, ensure that students are marking answers in the test booklet only. Check the student's name, teacher name, and school name to make sure it is accurate and complete on the booklet cover. Listening scripts will be provided for ELA accessing print. These will be read to the student by the test administrator. Administrators transfer all their responses onto the paper answer document. Check to make sure the answer document has a student label and that all sections of the front cover are completed accurately. Securely store all assessment materials after testing or return all materials to the coordinator promptly. Here are some reminders and additional administration tips. Students must be enrolled as Special Education or SE in MSDS. The FIELA Expressing Ideas assessment is paper only. The Functional Independence Answer document is completed by test administrators. Accommodated versions of the test must be documented in the student's IEP and typically part of a student's daily instruction. Bubbles filled in on the answer document should be completed with a number 2 pencil. Functional Independence Administrators may help the students with a test, but not on the test for paper and for online testing. Be sure to read the FI manual on the MyAccess webpage. When all of the testing administrations are complete, there are some critical steps to returning and wrapping up all of the post-administration activities. We will cover those now for the online and for the paper-pencil testing. For the functional independence, it is important to review the summary screen by selecting Review and Test. We do recommend that the administrator help navigate for the student to complete the testing. Administrators should encourage the students to complete their work if any questions are unanswered. We also recommend that the administrators complete the process for ending the test and submitting the test for the student. It is very important for the coordinators to inventory all materials before shipping back to the scoring contractor. Use the original materials packing list to verify that all materials listed are included in your returns. All secure materials must be returned to the scoring contractor. If any secure materials are not returned by the materials deadline, MDE will contact the school to locate any missing items. This is important because failure to return all secure materials may result in the district or school being placed on a future monitoring list. The FI-TAM provides a material return section that includes material handling table showing the items to be returned, retained, and destroyed by schools. It also includes the time frames for retaining or returning items. The QR code below will take you to the web page where the manuals are posted. The manual return section also provides a packing and shipping diagram which includes specific details of what material types to return, detailed instructions for the packing sequence, the labeling of the shipment and shipping deadline. The last day to ship materials is May 31st of 2023. Used testing materials that arrives past the scoring deadline will not be scored. In this closing slide, we provide our contact information. Thank you for taking the time to review this training presentation. You may reach the Office of Educational Assessment Accountability at mde-oeaa at michigan.gov. Questions may also be sent directly to our office at the Help Desk 877-560-8378. For weekly updates from the OEAA, please subscribe to the Spotlight on Student Assessment and Accountability. This provides timely articles and announcements, important dates and deadlines that are approaching, as well as other things. A link to the Spotlight is also found on the MyAccess webpage header. Thanks for watching.